English Point Podcast.
From English Learning Point.
I once walked into a room, sat down, and said 17 words that ended my chances of getting a job I really wanted.
17 words.
17. I counted later.
What were the words?
That is exactly what we are going to talk about today.
He has been sitting on this story for 2 weeks. I finally get to hear it.
She has been very patient.
I have been extremely patient.
Welcome to episode 3 of English Learning Point, the podcast. I'm Ben.
I'm Liza. Stay with us because by the end of today, you will know exactly what to say when an interviewer asks you the 2 hardest questions.
Okay, so this was about 2 years ago. I was applying for a graphic design job at a company I really admired. Big company, nice office, good salary. I wanted this job very much.
Okay, I can feel the nervousness already.
So I prepared. I practiced my answers. I picked out my best clothes the night before. I went to bed early. I woke up on time. I was ready.
This sounds good so far.
I know, it sounds good. I got to the office. The receptionist asked me to wait. I sat down. I looked around. The office was beautiful. Modern furniture, big windows, design work on the walls. I remember thinking, I really want to work here. I really, really want this.
That feeling makes everything more intense.
It makes everything much more intense. When you want something a lot, you feel the pressure more. And the interviewer came out and said, "Hi, I'm Michael. Thanks for coming in today."
Normal start.
Normal start. And I stood up, I shook his hand, and I said, "Thank you for having me. It's great to be here."
Perfect response, actually.
"Thank you." And then we walked to his office, we sat down, he opened my resume, he looked at it carefully, he asked me about a few projects, I answered well, he seemed interested. We talked about my process, my tools, my style, and I started to relax. I thought, okay, this is going well. I can do this.
And then?
And then he put down my resume, he leaned back in his chair, and he asked, "So Ben, why do you want to work here specifically? And how do you think you can help us grow?"
That is a very common question.
It is a very common question, and I knew it was coming. I'd even practiced something, but the moment he asked it, everything I prepared disappeared, completely gone. And Liza, I completely panicked. My brain stopped. And when I panic, I just start talking without thinking. So I said,
What did you say?
"To be honest, I feel like your brand needs a lot of work. That is why I'm here."
This,
17 words.
Ben, you told the interviewer that his company's brand needed a lot of work.
I did.
In the interview, for that company.
In the interview for that company, to the person who worked there.
What was his face doing?
He had this expression I can only describe as politely horrified, like he was trying very hard to stay professional. There was a long silence, and then he just looked at me and said, "I see. That is an interesting perspective."
That is the professional way of saying you made a very big mistake.
The interview ended 12 minutes later. We shook hands. He said they would be in touch. They were never in touch. I did not get the job.
Okay, I have to say, first of all, thank you for sharing this story. Second, what Ben experienced happens to so many people, not always in such a dramatic way, but the panic, the wrong words, saying something you immediately regret. This is incredibly common, and today we are going to make sure it never happens to you.
Or at least it happens less dramatically than it happened to me.
Exactly. Welcome, everyone, properly this time. Today's episode is about 2 of the most important job interview questions in English. Why do you want to work here, and how can you contribute to our company? These 2 questions trip up even very prepared candidates because they seem simple, but they're not.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, let's start with why do you want to work here? This is one of the most common questions in any English job interview. And it seems simple, but it confuses so many people because it is so open.
Right. Where do you even start? Do you talk about the salary, the location, the company's reputation?
And this is exactly where people make the mistake Ben made. They either say something too personal, I need a job, or they say something that sounds critical, I think you need improvement. Both are wrong. The key is this question is not about you, it is about them.
Say that again.
When an interviewer asks, why do you want to work here? They are really asking, what do you know about us? Do you respect what we do? And can you connect what we do to your own skills and goals?
So you have to research the company first.
Always. Before any interview, research the company. Find out what they do, what they are known for, what their values are, what makes them different from other companies, and then connect that to your background.
How much research is enough?
You should know at least 3 things before walking in. 1, what the company does and who their customers are. 2, something they are proud of, an award, a project, a campaign, a product. 3, what direction they are moving in. Are they growing, launching something new, entering a new market? These 3 things are usually on their website or in recent news articles about them.
3 things. That is very manageable.
Very manageable. And when you use these in your answer, you immediately stand out because most candidates do not do this research. They give a generic answer. You give a specific one.
So the answer is, I want to work here because of what you specifically do and because I can contribute to that.
Exactly. Let me show you a strong example. Imagine I'm interviewing for a marketing position at a creative agency.
Go ahead.
I've been following your agency's work for a while now, and I really admire the way you blend storytelling with strategy. It feels very different from most agencies I've seen. I believe my background in content creation and social media aligns well with that approach, and I'm genuinely excited about the possibility of contributing to campaigns like that.
That was excellent. You mentioned something specific about the company, you connected it to your skills, and you used a strong phrase, I admire.
Yes, I admire is one of the most powerful phrases you can use in a job interview. To admire something means to respect it, to look up to it. I admire your work. I admire your approach. I admire what this company stands for. It shows genuine interest, not flattery, genuine interest.
There's a difference between flattery and genuine interest.
A big difference. Flattery, Flattery, means saying nice things just to make someone feel good, without really meaning them. Genuine interest means you actually care. And interviewers can feel the difference. If you say, I admire your company, without knowing anything specific about them, it sounds empty. If you say, I admire the way you handled your rebrand last year, it felt bold but still professional, that sounds real.
So specificity is what makes it genuine.
Always. The more specific, the more believable. And the more believable, the more impressive.
I admire. Let me practice that. I admire the way your company approaches design, especially the work you did on the national campaign last spring.
Perfect. You added a specific detail. That is exactly the difference.
Now, let's talk about the second question. How can you contribute to our company? Or sometimes, how can you help us grow?
This is the question that got you.
This is the question that got me, and here's why it's tricky. Because in order to answer it, you need to know 2 things, what the company needs and what you can offer. These 2 things need to connect.
And if you don't know what the company needs,
You guess, and guessing leads to answers like, I think your brand needs a lot of work, which is not helpful to anyone.
in your defense, I actually understand the instinct. You saw something. You thought you were being honest. You thought being direct would impress them.
Yes, that was exactly my thinking. I thought interviewers respect honesty.
They do respect honesty, but there is a difference between honesty and criticism. Honesty about yourself, your strengths, your goals, your experience is valuable. Criticism about the company, to the people who work there, is not.
So the rule is be honest about yourself, be positive about them.
Exactly. Even if something is true, an interview is not the place to point out problems. An interview is the place to offer solutions. There is a big difference between saying your brand needs work and saying I would love the opportunity to bring fresh ideas to your visual identity.
Same idea, Completely different effect.
Completely different. One sounds critical, one sounds like an asset. An asset, A-S-S-E-T, means something valuable, something that helps. When you are in an interview, you want to present yourself as an asset to the company.
An asset. I am an asset, not a problem pointer.
Exactly. So the structure for answering how can you contribute is very simple. 3 parts. 1, mention a specific skill or strength you have. 2, connected to something the company does or needs. 3, express enthusiasm about doing that work there.
Skill, connection, enthusiasm.
Always those 3 parts. Let me give you an example. I have a strong background in brand design and visual identity. I noticed that your company is expanding into new markets this year, and I believe strong visual consistency is going to be really important for that. I would love the opportunity to contribute to that kind of work here.
That is smooth. You mentioned your skill, brand design, you connected it to something the company is doing, expanding into new markets, and you expressed enthusiasm. I would love the opportunity.
I would love the opportunity. That is another great phrase to remember. It's warm, it's professional, it shows genuine interest without sounding desperate.
I would love the opportunity. Okay, Liza, before we do the role play, can I ask you something?
Of course.
Have you ever had a bad interview moment like mine?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Tell us.
Okay, so this was about 3 years ago. I was interviewing for a marketing coordinator position at a company I really wanted to work at. The interview was going well, and then the interviewer asked me, "How can you contribute to our team?"
The same question.
The same question. And I had prepared an answer. I really had. But I got so nervous that I started saying it, and halfway through, I completely forgot what I was going to say. Mid-sentence, I just stopped.
What did you do?
I panicked, and instead of saying, "Let me think for a moment," which I now know is the right thing to do, I just kept talking, without any direction. I think I mentioned 3 completely unrelated things: social media, event planning, my love of spreadsheets.
Your love of spreadsheets?
I do genuinely love spreadsheets, but that was not the moment to discuss it.
What was the interviewer's face doing?
She was nodding, very politely, the kind of nodding that means, "I have no idea what you are trying to tell me, but I'm going to be kind about it."
Did you get the job?
I did not get the job. I got a very nice rejection email 2 weeks later.
So we have both been there.
We have both been there. And that's exactly why this topic matters so much to us. These are not abstract mistakes. These are real things that happened to real people, including us. And the good news is, the fix is not complicated. It just takes preparation and the right phrases.
Should we do the role play?
Yes, let's do it. I'll be the interviewer, Ben, you're the candidate. And this time, no critical observations about the company's brand.
Noted.
Okay, you walk in. I stand up to greet you.
Hello, I'm Ben. Thank you so much for having me today.
Great to meet you, Ben. I'm Liza, the creative director. Please, have a seat.
Thank you.
So, Ben, we have looked at your portfolio and we are impressed. But I'd like to ask you, why do you want to work here specifically? There are a lot of design agencies out there.
That's a great question. I have been following your agency's work for about a year now, and I genuinely admire the way you approach brand storytelling. Most agencies focus only on visuals, but your work always has a clear message behind it. That combination of strong design and clear communication is exactly what I want to develop in my own career, and I believe I can contribute to that kind of work here.
Excellent. You mentioned something specific about the agency, storytelling and communication. You connected it to your career goals, and you ended with how you can contribute. That is a very strong answer.
Thank you. 2 years of thinking about what I should have said.
Okay, next question. How do you think you can help us grow?
That's a great question. Let me think for a moment.
You see what he did there? He used the phrase. He bought himself time. He did not panic. He did not mention the website.
I have a strong background in visual identity and branding, logos, color systems, brand guidelines. I know your agency has been taking on more international clients recently, and I think maintaining visual consistency across different markets can be a real challenge. I would love the opportunity to bring that kind of systematic thinking to your team.
Perfect. You named your skill, You connected it to a real challenge the agency faces. You used, I would love the opportunity. And you offered yourself as a solution, not a critic. That is exactly the formula.
I am an asset.
You are an asset.
Okay, I want to talk about something that does not get discussed enough. What do you do when you do not know enough about the company? What if you did your research but you could not find specific information?
This happens, especially with smaller companies or startups that do not have a lot of public information. And in that case, you can ask.
Ask the interviewer?
Yes, before you answer how you can contribute, you can say, could you tell me a little more about the main challenges the team is facing right now? That would help me give you a more specific answer. This is not weakness. This is actually very impressive.
Because it shows you want to give a relevant answer, not a generic one.
Exactly. And it shows you think carefully before speaking, which is the opposite of what both of us did in our worst interviews.
The opposite of what we did, yes.
And here's something else that is very important, the beginning and the end of the interview. Because these two moments, the first impression and the last impression, are the ones that stay with the interviewer the longest.
What should you do at the very beginning?
When you first meet the interviewer, stand up if you are sitting, make eye contact, smile, shake their hand firmly, not too hard, not too soft, and say something warm. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Or, I really appreciate the opportunity to meet with you today.
And what about the end of the interview?
The end is just as important as the beginning. When the interview is finishing, the interviewer will often say, do you have any questions for us? And a lot of people say, no, I think you covered everything. Thank you.
Is that wrong?
It is not wrong, but it's a missed opportunity because asking a good question at the end of an interview shows that you are genuinely interested. It shows that you are listening, and it leaves a strong final impression.
What kind of questions can you ask?
Good questions to ask at the end are, what does a typical day look like in this role? What do you enjoy most about working here? What are the main challenges someone in this position would face? What are the next steps in the process? These are all questions that show you are serious, that you are already thinking about the job. Hello, we're excited to show you our native speech capabilities.
Where you can direct a voice, create realistic dialogue, and so much more. Edit these placeholders to get started.
Exactly. And avoid questions about salary or vacation days in the first interview. Those conversations come later. In the first interview, focus on showing interest in the work and the company.
Okay, let me do a full recap because there is a lot here today. First, why do you want to work here? Research the company, find 3 specific things, connect what they do to your background, use I admire with a specific detail.
Second, how can you contribute? Name a skill, connect it to something the company does or needs. Express enthusiasm with, I would love the opportunity to. And remember, offer solutions, not criticism.
Third, if you do not know what to say, use that's a great question, let me think for a moment. Or ask the interviewer a clarifying question. Both are professional and both buy you time.
Fourth, the beginning and end matter just as much as the middle. Start with a warm greeting, end with a thoughtful question.
And the most important thing, prepare specific answers, not generic ones. The more specific your answer, the more genuine it sounds. The more genuine it sounds, the more impressive it is.
And remember, the interviewer is not your enemy. They are a person. They want to find someone good for this job. Your job is to help them see that you are that person.
Word of the day. Liza, your turn.
Today's word is asset. A-S-S-E-T. Asset.
What does it mean?
An asset is something or someone that is valuable and useful. In business, an asset is something that helps the company succeed. When you walk into a job interview, your goal is to show that you are an asset, not a cost, not a problem, but something genuinely valuable.
Use it in a sentence.
I believe my experience in data analysis would be a real asset to your team. Or, strong communication skills are an asset in any role. You can also say an asset too, meaning valuable for a specific person or group.
Asset, a great word for interviews and for life.
This week's challenge, write your answer to why do you want to work here? Pick any company you admire. Research them, write 2 to 3 sentences using the structure we gave you today, and post it in the comments. We will read every single one.
And if you want a bigger challenge, do the full role play. Answer both questions out loud. Time yourself. Record yourself if you're brave enough, because hearing yourself is one of the most powerful ways to improve.
And next week, episode 4, I get completely, totally, embarrassingly lost.
Tell them.
Okay, so I was visiting a new neighborhood here in New York. I had been there once before, years ago, and I was completely sure I knew where I was going. Completely sure.
How lost did you get?
I ended up in a completely different borough. For people who don't know New York, that is like going to the wrong city.
And she had to ask 3 different strangers for help.
3, and every single conversation was awkward in a different way. Next week, we're going to talk about exactly how to ask for directions in English, finding your way, and what to say when you are completely, totally lost.
Subscribe so you do not miss it. This is English Learning Point. I'm Ben.
And I'm Liza. Take care, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Bye.